If you want to be successful in business, do not be too smart for your own good. Hi, if you have no idea who I am, my name is Claudiu Manea. I'm a psychologist and a therapist, and for the past 10 years I've been helping people just like you have aligned lives and peaceful lives, powerful families and inspired businesses. Now, what do I mean by don't be too smart for your own good? Well, smart people, and by that I mean really intelligent people, high intelligence individuals, tend to not be so successful in business as compared to other people who, let's say, are less endowed on an intellectual level. And that happens for two main reasons. The first reason is that when you are intelligent, you can approach a situation from very different angles, from multiple angles. You can see a lot of the parameters of a situation. The problem is that the more of these angles that you see and that you take into account, the more this leads you into analysis paralysis, meaning that it actually prohibits you from making a decision and from actually going into putting into action whatever it is that you want to do. That's the first reason. The second reason is that intelligent people, because they see the big picture and so on, tend to overcomplicate things. And this doesn't necessarily stop action altogether, but if it doesn't stop action altogether, it makes everything much less efficient. And this applies in business, in messaging, in how you structure the whole operation. It applies to how you structure the processes inside that company and so on. Intelligent people always tend to overcomplicate things, and that's not a positive trait. Now, I'm going to give you an example of this just so you know how it applies in practice, and just so you know that I'm not some perfect example when it comes to this. I've made my share of mistakes when it comes to this exact thing, and I don't feel like I've completely resolved the issue, but I am watching myself closely when it comes to this, because I now know that I have the tendency to do that. And by watching myself, by monitoring myself constantly, I am able to see when I go off-road and I overcomplicate things and I overanalyze and all of that, and then I can steer myself back. So just so you know, I'm not preaching this this thing from a moral high ground or anything like that. No, I'm just as guilty as everyone else of doing this. So a few years ago, must have been 2 or 3 years ago, I came up with this brilliant idea of positioning myself, and I came up with the message that went like this. So whenever I would introduce myself or talk about myself, I would say, "Hi, I'm Claudiu Manea, and I'm the second greatest therapist in the world." And I thought it was a really funny and brilliant idea of introducing myself. The problem was that The joke was very funny to me, but it didn't. But most people didn't really get it. And the thing about the joke was that, okay, I say that I'm the second greatest therapist in the world. Second greatest in what way? First of all, greatest in terms of talent, greatest in terms of dimensions. I mean, I am tall. I'm 6'3", 6'4", but I'm not that tall. Okay, so I don't block out the sun whenever you see me coming down the street. So greatest in what way? And that was the actual joke, that you can, as long as the claim is absurd enough, as long as the claim is big enough that it borders on absurdity, you can pretty much say whatever you want, because no one can really contradict you in any way. That was the joke, and I thought it was really funny. I still think it's funny. The problem is that when someone doesn't know you and they first come into contact with you and they hear that, they're not sure what to think. I mean, even if they get the joke, they might get the joke, but then they are uncertain that they got it in the right way. So they might look at, they might hear that and say, okay, he's probably joking. But what if he's not? What if he's really that out of touch, or that overconfident, or whatever it is? So you don't want to put people in that situation of having to decide right from the get-go, from getting to know you, whether or not you're joking, what's the deal with you. You don't want to do that. And like I said, that is even if they get the joke. If they don't get the joke, oh, that's a whole nother problem. So that was an example when it comes to messaging in a business. But like I said, this also applies to how you structure the whole operation, how you organize the management team, how and all of that. And I have seen this play out in companies time and time again. You just have processes in place in order for a piece of paper to be passed down from department to department, between 5 or 6 departments, all completely different from each other, and in the process the paper gets lost or gets stuck somehow somewhere, and it resurfaces as if by magic 2 months later. Or you structure the executive team in such a way that you have people monitoring the people who monitor, and the people who monitor, and all of that, and you reach these absurd levels of complexity. Whereas it's like the meme with the one guy who's working and 7 other guys are around him, and they are management. They are actually managing the one person who is actually doing the work. So you don't want to do that. And like I said, if you are aware that you have the tendency to do that, you can monitor yourself, and whenever you go off course, simply adjust and veer back on track. That's how you do it. It's a tendency. It's not condemnation. Okay, so if you can catch yourself doing it, you can correct. You can correct course. So when it comes to messaging, no, don't get too funny, don't get too witty, don't get too smart, don't be too subtle. And this don't be too subtle also applies to other aspects of the business, not just messaging. Don't be too subtle, okay? Don't make people, whether they are employees or customers, don't make people think too much. It's not that they are stupid and they cannot think, it's that you don't want them thinking too much, because it's like this: if overthinking gets you into analysis paralysis, overthinking will get them into analysis paralysis at some point, and why would you risk that in the first place? Okay, so like I said, if you are a highly intelligent person, this is how you're going to be more successful in business. This exact thing, keeping your intelligence in check. We have come to think of high intelligence as being a quality of someone. However, high intelligence is not a quality. It is an instrument, it is a tool. And the thing that determines how we use that tool is wisdom, not intelligence. Wisdom helps you decide the direction or the problem on which you use the tool of intelligence. Simply having intelligence means nothing. You have more thoughts going on in your head, and you don't really do anything with those thoughts. So what good does having more thoughts do to you? It's not valuable in and of itself. It's only valuable when you know how to apply it. So that's what I had for you today. If you found it interesting, please don't forget to hit subscribe and ring notification bell so you get notified whenever I post something new. Thank you for making it up until the end and for sticking with me so far. And I hope you have a great day moving forward. Bye.